Today, it's moving day.
There's so many things happening for us at this point. You are still working full time. I've been planning ahead for everything we'll be doing when we travel. And on top of that, we're moving this weekend. So many things are happening and the place looks like a mess. And we were talking and we realized like, oh, actually that's very similar to life. Because when you clean up, first, before it actually gets better, it always gets worse. So I've had it before where I was cleaning up and I'm like, everything is everywhere. And I realized, and we've had conversations about that before too, is when you start on your personal development process, it sometimes feels the same, that it's first more chaotic in your mind, in your body, before it actually gets better. And I was like, it's a good one to keep in mind that also with physically cleaning up, it's normal. That's part of the process. It's how it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think what I would want to add on is like I was cleaning out first closet and I was like sorting, and actually a moving day is also, it's super reflective. Like you take stuff out and some of the stuff has been there for months and we've never touched, of course. And then you have like these couple of questions that you go through, like, do I actually finally throw this thing away? Do I keep it because it has so much value for me that like I will use it in the future, or it just means so much for me that I need to keep onto it? Or do I put it in a pile because I just want to use it in the near future? And I think that is such a good way to look at life, because I don't think we take like the moving day metaphor enough into our own life, because sometimes that's exactly what I should be doing. I should be looking at like, okay, in this chaoticness, in this stressful day of life, like what are things that I should just like get rid of, stop doing? What are the things that will serve me good in long run, but also I can like save and put down, store well? And what is that short-term thing in the near future that I'm really gonna focus on? It's been this process of, long time ago we had this idea of doing this, and now having actually this day that we're actually moving out, it's truly like, oh, we're saying goodbye to a place that now we call home. And
the place where the project that we will do with Unleashing of Potential like came from. This is where it all was created. Mm-hmm. On the side there we have like the brainstorm sheet that we started in the summer with all our initial ideas, where it all came together. And it was also not something that immediately was clear, but it just so many talks here on the kitchen floor. Somehow our best talks always happen on the floor, when we just sit down and
yeah, with my back to the heater so that I would like cuddle up and it would be warm, and it would be like, oh yes, this is what we're gonna do. Oh no, we cannot never do this. Like this, will this ever work out? It was constantly conversations like that.
Yeah, and like, but if we use that word, then what does it actually mean? Mm-hmm. And how do we live it? And do we actually live it? Like questioning ourselves a lot. Oh, really good talks. And another thing that we really enjoy about this place is our bookcase.
Yeah.
Wonderful bookcase. We both very much enjoy reading and getting inspiration from that. So before it's passed on to the next renters, we want to share some of our favorite books with you and some of the lessons we've taken from there.
Yeah, we just like went through all of it, and a couple of them, like actually before this video we needed to take a moment to just choose because there's so many. And the first one is this, the Alchemist from Paulo Coelho. Probably a really bad pronunciation if there's anyone that speaks the language. But this book, if you haven't read it, it's this metaphor where it all started with. In that moment I didn't have a job yet, or didn't have a new job yet, and I was like, oh, and then suddenly I read this and I was like, okay, actually, like you just need to start heading on your road, and you need to start doing, and slowly but surely certain lessons will come your way. And that's definitely something I remember for me. And in every book that we have, like we write so many notes in, so it's just a joy to like
underline,
open it up again and just read it.
Yeah, and then the first one that came to my mind is called Search Inside Yourself. that I randomly found at an airport, like this very little bookshop in Mexico City. And it's interesting because the books that I find in airports are often like some of my favorites. And this one, it's been a few years ago, and it's basically about mindfulness, about meditation, but taken from the perspective of an engineer, so very scientifically approached. And at that time, that was perfect for me because I was already kind of getting into meditation and what it all could mean, but it was so great to see the research behind it. And then on top of that, it's this guy who puts little cartoons in there. He makes it very playful, so it's very easy to read and very easy to take in. And it's by accident. Like, it's funny that I opened this page because it was the part that I remembered the most too, and it's called "Do Not Feed the Monsters." If you don't want something to be there, then stop giving it your energy. Good listen.
Yeah. For me, that book was really good as well. It was kind of the first moment that I was like, mindfulness, it can be very meaningful, and I can do something with this. Great. Next book, I don't think I even put it on. It's right here. Originals from Adam Grant. This book was, for me, the book that showed me that creativity can be done in a different way. The tagline is "How Non-Conformists Move the World." And I think he has... I love creativity and out-of-the-box thinking, and I think I'm pretty good at it. But when I read this, some of my beliefs and mindsets still completely shifted, and it really put me in this state of whoa, there's actually a different way of looking at it. And I think sometimes I get impatient and wanting change really fast, and this actually proves, Adam Grant proves, with great evidence and great stories and great backgrounds, that some of the things that I believed can also be done in a different way. Even when you're in a steady job, there's things that can be done that slowly but surely are changing your life in a totally different way. Originals.
Mm-hmm. Then the next one for me is The Women Who Run with the Wolves. And it's a very different kind of book than I've ever read before. It came my way about April or May last year when we went on a weekend. We slept outdoors with a group of friends, and I stayed up all night by the fire. And someone who was there gave it to me, and about 5 in the morning I started reading it by the light of the fire. And it's a woman who talks a lot about the archetypes of the women. And how much it is that we carry within us, this innate wisdom that often we get back to when we hear stories. And she uses stories and metaphors. So it's a really difficult book for me to explain to people when they ask, what do you get from it? But I just feel something waking up inside of me. It's beautifully written, and the symbolism goes way deeper than I've ever would be able to come up with on my own. And so I recommend it to all women. I also recommend it to men who are interested in learning more about the female psyche.
At that same weekend, the weekend with the fireplace, at that same fireplace, a friend of me, Laurent, he recommended this book, The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. And it's so good, this book. It's, the copy that we have has been lent out to a friend, Marina, but there is a sequel of the book, The 10th Insight, and this book, it's this, you just need to read it. It's
quite mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's even hard to express, but it's this guy who goes on a journey and comes across different insights along his journey, and it's kind of written in a story format. But throughout the book, you learn certain life insights that just blew my mind about how certain things can come to you, not just by coincidence, but maybe because you need to see them, and how kind of energy between people work, how that works. Because sometimes when I have a great conversation, suddenly I feel so much more energy afterwards, and I couldn't really explain it. And Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield really described that really well, and it showed that throughout your life there's a certain build-up, and you need to have learned certain insights to be able to go on to the next insight. And that's what this book is about. So really highly recommend it if you want to know more about life.
It's a fiction book, but it's very insightful at the same time, which is a nice combination. It's a very easy read. Another one like that for me is a book that I first saw the movie of recently, and then quite fast after that went to get the book, which is Call Me By Your Name. And it is fully fictional, but for me, one of the biggest lessons that I took away from it that was important for me to take in is life is all about love, but at the same time also embracing the heartache and the pain and it's all okay to be there. It doesn't need to be just the good stuff, and it really shows the raw side too. The doubt, what goes on in your mind the whole time, and that it's okay to embrace all of it. And it's on top of that, it's beautifully written. So if you're just looking for a moment to relax with the book, I highly recommend this one as well.
We're almost at the end of our selection. The next one is this one, The Power of Now. This has been the heaviest book that I've read in the last year. It was like, it was a hard time getting through the whole book. And because sometimes you read a book and you're not completely ready for it yet, but you can read how much power there is to it. But then the great thing with this book, The Power of Now, it really shows like so much of our life happens in our mind with like, this has happened in the past, or I'm worrying about the future. But there is a crucial element about what's happening right now in this moment, and how to look at it and how that fits within our bigger life. Powerful book, and why it was so powerful is also because we were at that moment in Nepal, and it allowed us to have great conversations. And then also at some point we met this author at this same place that we were staying, and we started talking about this book and a book he was writing, and it's this book that just opens certain doors. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, and then the final one is the Dao De Jing. They're scriptures that have existed for thousands of years, coming from Lao Tzu. And it's been recommended to us by a fantastic friend, Andres. And he has multiple copies, and every time he has one, he hands them away, gives them away to friends. And the apartment where they live, they have him all over the walls. Yeah. They have all the pages. And it's just I can't use another word than just wise. There's so much wisdom in there. And so to finish, I'd like to read one of the parts, because each page is just a short piece, short insight. And this is one I'd love to read to you. Fame or integrity, which is more important? Money or happiness, which is more valuable? Success or failure, which is more destructive? If you look to others for fulfillment, you will never truly be fulfilled. If your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you.
Yeah, whoa. This book, it's this book that from time to time you just need to open up, and you'll read it and you'll connect it to something from your life at that moment, and it really it's so reflective. And that's when I realized from a book like this is, in the world there have been great philosophers. There have been through ancient times there have been many people who've wondered about life. So it's books like this that remind me again, whoa, we just also sometimes need to listen to what's out there, and we need to be recommending to each other what are those insights, and from time to time, that's how we slowly start growing.
So this is us reporting from the last time in front of this bookcase. Next time we'll be from somewhere else. And for the ones who are new to our new YouTube channel, as of the 15th of April, we'll start traveling until the end of 2018. What we'll do after that, we don't know. We're gonna let the rest of this year fill that in, and we'll do all kinds of workshops, retreats, collaborations with people on the topic of unleashing of potential. So all about the potential we have within, how can we get it out?
Keep subscribing. It's great to see that so many people are interested in joining in. Keep sharing those comments. Great to read them as well.
Yeah, share your favorite books below, because we'd love to see what they are. And maybe we'll get some good recommendations for us too.
Good. Bye, friends.
Bye.